It's mental. It's mental. Yes, yes, Sir Hairless here. I have received many requests for this one, more so recently actually because of my recent Morissette videos, Rise Up and Akin Ka Na Lang. This is because they were performed by a Filipino singer on the Wish bus, and so is today's performance, The Prayer by Marcelito Pomoy. I'm told this is a fan favourite, this performance. It's a super famous song by Celine Dion and Andrea Bocelli, two household names, too. Marcelito Pomoy is one person. I'm told he sings both parts. So that should be interesting. Every Wishbus performance I've seen so far has been fantastic. You can find all of them in the playlist in the description. So I'm hoping that trend continues with this one. Let's get straight into it.
Wish 1075.
Wow.
And watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe. La luce che tu.
Wow. Now Marcelito Bocelli is coming in, but it will have to wait. I'm going to do a pause here for copyright reasons. Just give a few thoughts on what we've heard so far. Quite, well, really interesting actually. So if you don't want to hear my thoughts or analysis, go to the timestamp. So the first thing, Marcelito Dion, just like in the original song, which is only Celine Dion up until this point, he is singing as her. It's worth noting that his performance is in the same key as the original song.
I pray you'll be alright. I pray you'll be alright.
And whilst we are comparing to the original, it seems like it is the exact same arrangement, like it's the backing track from the original song he's using. In the string there.
And help us to be wise.
Then coming in there.
In times when
A bit more subtle, the backing instrumentation in the original song. Maybe that's just due to the mixing on the Wish bus or something like that. So, because of this, unless the arrangement changes later on, I don't have too much to say on the arrangement compared to the original song. It's a very famous original song. When the arrangements are significantly different, it can make for some very interesting analysis. Are there different instruments used? Is the tempo changed? Is it in a different key? Has the harmony actually been changed? And I believe harmony to be the most important thing when it comes to music. You change the harmony, you completely change the feel of a piece of music. Well, we won't have such questions in this one, which takes us on to Marcelito himself. I found the opening very interesting. He just looks so relaxed. Or is that nerves? Is he really, really nervous? I'm not sure.
Wish 1075.
And then to come in with a voice like that, this is the real surprise here. How is a man going to sing Celine Dion's part at the same pitch? The obvious difference between male and female singers, other than range, is the texture of the voice, the timbre or the timbre. It's usually very easy to tell if it's a man or a woman singing. It becomes a bit less obvious when you have male countertenors, for example, men singing in their head voice. This is far more common than female tenors or female basses. That's really quite rare. Just to demonstrate this, I'll show two very short clips from a Bach Mass, the Mass in B minor. One clip will be a male, one will be a female. And here's the other one. If you couldn't tell, the first one was a male, the second one was a female, but you can see they are fairly similar. To me though, there's still quite a clear difference. Marcelito's voice, from what I've heard so far, one of the most unique parts about it, one of the most surprising elements, is this tone of his.
Pray you'll be alright.
If you listen to this with your eyes closed,
And watch us where we go.
it's really not obvious at all that this is a man. It's a very unique voice he has. I'm not sure people can train to have a voice like this. I think you're just born with it. We can train to do most things, so maybe I'm wrong there. But it's a very, very unique voice he has. Some other singers with a similar type of voice that we've heard on the channel, one would be Mitch Grassi from Pentatonics. Again, if we just listen with our eyes closed.
But all I've ever learned from love.
It's not obvious that is a male singer there. He's the first one that comes to mind. But yeah, super, super interesting, unique voice type.
Let this be our prayer.
Predominantly in his head voice still. For this voice type, it tends to be the case your chest voice, your full voice, can go much higher than your average male.
When we lose our way.
There was a bit of a blended voice at the bottom, so a mix of his chest voice and his head voice.
When we lose our way.
And then more into the head voice at the end of the phrase. We can see the blended voice, there's more power to the sound. Lovely vibrato as well.
Guide us with your grace.
And he sings with quite a lot of to the sound, especially there like we heard on Guide. The one thing I really like about the Wish Bus, and this isn't a negative comment, so before you comment saying it is, it's not. I said this with Morissette, I said this with some of the other performances we've seen on the Wish Bus. We can tell the sound has not been altered much, if at all, because the tuning is not perfect. In today's age of technology, so many performances out there have been touched up in the studio. Tuning is adjusted so it's perfect. It can often sound quite unnatural. Here, the tuning is not perfect. No live performance is ever really perfect, is it? And I love it because it's such an authentic sound, and in my opinion, it actually shows off the talent of these singers a lot. Just listen to how good these performances are. And when I say it's not perfect, I only mean on the occasional note here or there. Here's an example. We can see how he started singing with straight tone on that last note, and then the vibrato, the wobbles come through. I often say it's much harder to sing perfectly in tune with straight tone. Why is that? Well, vibrato, it can mask any tuning discrepancies. Vibrato is the rapid fluctuation between two notes, effectively, and it's often used to help bring the tuning up. Perfect example there. Let's have another listen to that last note. See how it comes up as the vibrato comes in? Yeah, overall, this is really cool. Fantastic voice. I love the unique tone as we've spoken about. The arrangement is the same as the original song, so not really much to talk about there. Marcelito just came in with Andrea Bocelli's part where we paused, so let's carry on.
La luce che tu dai
I pray we'll find your light.
nel cuore resterà
In hold within our heart.
a ricordarci
Stars go out each night.
eterna stella sei. Nella mia preghiera
Let this be our prayer.
quanta fede c'è
When shadows fill our day.
lead us to a
Rise, guide us with your grace.
give us faith so we'll be saved. Sogniamo un mondo.
Wow. The rapid changes between the two parts. I was really curious how he was going to do that. One of the important aspects of a duet is your ability to have two people singing at the same time. One person could be sustaining a note whilst the other one comes in with the next phrase, such as this phrase.
Nella mia preghiera
Let this be our
Bocelli is sustaining the note and Celine comes above it. It thickens the texture. We're hearing more layers at once. So what does Marcelito do here?
nella mia
It really sounds very natural, the changeover. I can only imagine how tiring that is, having to constantly change voice type. The actual tone of the different voices are just so different between Bocelli and Celine Dion's parts. I'm sure he's having to consciously, be aware of this.
La luce che tu dai.
I pray you will find your light.
Really smooth though, really smooth voice, especially the upper part. Of course, this section is lower down. Bocelli later on in the song, that's when the real tenor starts coming out. I find his mannerisms quite funny as well, just like this very quick look. Just there. He's so calm. He's just so calm. It's really interesting to watch, really cool. I particularly liked this phrase. Yeah, it's just such a unique voice type. I think that's a type of voice that I will never not be surprised by. In my head, that voice should not be coming out of a man. Not because of the range, it's not that special to be able to sing that high as a man. But it's the freedom with which he sings, the openness of the vowel sounds, the fact that it's not pure head voice, it's a significant blend actually. The rich vibrato at the end of the phrase, really cool. Let's carry on, I just want to see more. If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos, and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now.
Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, e un mondo di giustizia, di speranza. Ognuno dia la mano a sua vicina, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che ci dai
We ask that life be kind
ed essere ocean,
in waters from above.
ognuno trovi amore
We hope it's so we'll find
intorno e dentro sé.
another soul to love.
That's mental.
Let this be our prayer.
It's mental. It's mental. I find he's really getting into the performance now. He seems a bit more relaxed, even though it's much more intense musically, much more power to the sound. Maybe the nerves are dissipating a little bit. Wow, what an incredible... How long was that? About a minute, I think I just played. I was listening with eager anticipation
Giustizia di speranza.
for this next phrase. How tenor operatic can he go? The answer?
Ognuno dia la mano a sua vicina.
Very. Again, he does that little side look there. At this moment, I just feel the sound opened up even more than it was before. The switching now between the two parts, it's so accurate in terms of the tuning.
La forza che ci dai
We ask that life be kind
ed essere ocean,
in waters from above.
I just can't get over the openness of the sound when he's singing Celine Dion's part with that blended voice of his.
In waters from above.
Celine does quite a bit of air at the end of that phrase, so it's getting a little bit softer, a bit weaker.
ocean.
In waters from above.
His sound feels like it's getting a bit softer, weaker, but without the air in the voice. That's a nice affectation, and I do actually like the little slide just before that.
In waters from above.
And, of course, he's singing in two different languages, switching between them. Very impressive, just very impressive. In a way, it's a good thing the arrangement is not different from the original song, because if it was, I'd have way too much to talk about. This video would go on for days and days, and no one would like that. Okay, let's carry on for the final quarter, I guess. Where we paused, he was now actually implementing a bit of an airy voice.
Let this be our prayer,
Very soft.
This be your prayer.
just like every child
just like every child.
Need to find a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be saved. Il a fait I just saw it.
Again, the vibrato raising it at the end.
Sento che ci salva.
Wish exclusive on Wish 1075.
Bravo. Bravo.
Wish 1075.
That little motion at the end here, is that because it hurts his voice or his face, the muscles, so much movement? Bravo, bravo either way. Yeah, not too much more to say there. I'll just be repeating myself with what I've been saying before. From where we carried on though for this last section, that's one of my favorite moments in the original song.
Let this be our prayer.
The contrary motion between Andrea Bocelli and Celine Dion. She's moving down and he's moving up. And then this jump down from the F to the G, which is this seventh. It's not quite the full octave. You know, a bit of dissonance. It sounds a bit peculiar. Marcelito, being just one person, even though he seems a bit like a superhuman, he has to choose one part to sing, and it's Bocelli's part.
Let this be our prayer.
But you'll notice how he does actually go down the octave before then sliding up.
Let this be your prayer.
And I also like that phrase from the original song.
Let this be your prayer.
Need to find a place, guide us with your grace.
Lovely exaggerated switching between the chesty, fuller sound at the bottom and the airy, head voicey sound at the top. And then to finish off,
Wish exclusive on
yeah, running out of breath a little bit at the end, but who can blame him? What a performance. That was so cool. So cool. Of all of the hundreds of times this has been recommended to me over the past year or so, I don't think I've really taken the time to consider how much of an undertaking it must be to sing this by yourself. Even if you have someone who has the range to cover both parts, there are a lot of people in the world who would have the range to cover both parts. The chances of them being a tenor, being able to sing with a tenor's tone in the higher chest voice, and then also having that really unique voice type I was speaking about earlier, surely there can't be many people in the world who can do that. Well, that's definitely a very impressive performance. I did see some comments saying that it caught the attention of Ellen DeGeneres, for example, and I'd love to know where Marcelito is now. So please comment down below all the information you have on him. I love reading them and learning about these artists. Comment down below as well other performances by Marcelito you'd like me to do videos on in the future. And as always, thank you for watching. Would appreciate a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time.